Hi, I'm your host, Jürgen Strauss from Innova.buzz, and I'm really excited today to welcome to the Innova.buzz podcast from Farmingdale in New York, the USA, John Cronin and Mark Cronin, who are the co-founders of John's Crazy Socks, which is a social enterprise dedicated to spreading happiness through a unique collection of socks. Of all things, Mark and John have built the world's largest sock store, and they've become fierce advocates for inclusion. They've both testified before the US Congress and spoken at the United Nations. Their mission-driven business not only achieves remarkable commercial success, but it also makes a significant social impact by showcasing the contributions of people with differing abilities. So welcome to the Innova.buzz podcast, John and Mark. It's a great privilege to have you as my guests today, and I'm really glad we were able to make the technology work. We did have a little bit of difficulty at the start.
Thank you so much. I'm really so excited on your podcast. Thank you for having me on your podcast.
We're looking forward to this conversation.
Excellent, thank you, and it's great to have both of you here. It's sometimes a little bit of a challenge for me to host more than one guest, but we'll see how I go today.
Well, you put us both together, you get almost a whole person.
All right. Well, I'm thrilled to dive into your inspiring journey, particularly with John's Crazy Socks. And I know there's lots of wonderful stories there. And I know we're going to have a happy time today because your whole philosophy is spreading happiness. And I'm looking forward to also exploring how you've blended business success with a powerful social mission. So let's start with the big picture. What's the impact you're aiming to make in the world today?
Well, we want to show what's possible. And much of that for us is focused on showing what people with differing abilities can do. And we start with my partner here, my son. John, you have Down syndrome?
Yes, I am. I have Down syndrome. Down syndrome never hold me back.
And John is the face of the business.
Yes, I am.
Right? We don't hide him in the back.
I could be in the front. I'm a face of the business and the company.
And it's important that people see what John can do, what our colleagues can do. So that's very important, and that drives a lot of what we do. But I think it reaches to a larger issue, and that talks about the social enterprise. Look at the possibilities of what a business can do, the impact that we can have in our community and our world. It's so much more than dollars and cents. And in the end, if you pursue those larger ambitions, the dollars and cents will do even better. And I'd like to think we're a good example of that. I mean, at the end of the day, we're a couple of knuckleheads selling socks.
I definitely are.
But all we want to do is
I spread the world,
change the world.
Of course, yes.
And we're doing it with socks. I mean, what more mundane an item could there be? But you can invest it with meaning and purpose and make it magical.
I make it arbitrary and showing a lot of impact are going to be good businesses.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, I think, we did have a conversation just before we started recording about whether or not your business is a good fit for my typical listener. And I said, well, it's not about the socks. It's about your philosophy of business and your philosophy around customer service that we'll get to, and how that can be applied to any business. And also what you've just mentioned, which is every business can do good in the world. And the counterintuitive thing is, if you focus on making a difference in the world and that social impact that we can have, it actually comes back commercially. So the commercial reward is there. So talk to me a little bit about how you got started in terms of, tell us the story about how you got started, because I think it's fascinating, but also talk a little bit about how you positioned that social impact and the commercial the need for commercial sustainability at the same time?
Well, it's all of a whole, right?
Hmm.
So, yeah, we'll tell the story of how we got started. Let's go back to the fall of 2016.
Small captain.
Yeah, it starts in a small log cabin in the woods.
No, we talk of Long Island.
It starts in suburban Long Island,
suburban.
outside New York City.
Yes.
And John, where were you?
I was at Huntington High School. I go to my lecture school.
So John's like everybody else, trying to figure out what comes next.
Opportunity.
And what were you looking at?
I look at shop, program, and school. I can't find career that I do like.
Couldn't find anything.
Yeah.
Jürgen, this is true in Australia. It's true in the United States and Canada.
Absolutely.
Europe. There just are not enough opportunities for people with different abilities. But like much of your audience out there, John here is a natural entrepreneur.
Yes, I am. I am an entrepreneur. I got a lot of opportunity.
You didn't see a job you wanted. He said, I'll make one.
I
Make
did.
one.
I said I will go be with my father, and I want to have a nice father and son business together.
Now you know.
So you've got a background in entrepreneurship, Mark, I take it.
I do.
Yeah.
And it turns out John does too. You know, he was doing things growing up and in school that were highly entrepreneurial. We just weren't calling it that. But when you look back and say, oh, of course. And yes, he'd seen me start and run different businesses, lead different businesses. But, you know, okay, let's go and do this. I only half jokingly say I have 3 sons. And this is one I can work with.
Yes.
But John had a lot of ideas.
I do. I have smoke in my ears.
Smoke comes out of his ears when he thinks he'll go home. And not every idea is a good idea. What was one of them?
One of them is a food truck. I saw a Korean movie called Chef. The actor named John Favreau. It's a neat movie about a father and son buying a food truck.
Mm-hmm.
So a food truck seemed like a fun idea. Everybody loves a food truck. And we're thinking, what could we make? Where would we put it?
I love steak.
To tell you the truth, I wasn't sure I wanted to spend my days in a food truck. But we ran into a problem.
Oh, we can't cook.
Yeah, we can't cook. So we put together a food truck. But then, right before the U.S. Thanksgiving in November, John had his eureka moment. Brilliant idea.
I did.
Yeah.
I would sell a crazy socks. Why socks? It's fun. It's colorful. It's creative. It's always let me be me. I want crazy socks my whole life. My dad and I travel around, looking at finding great socks.
We would drive around looking for these crazy socks. So this is what.
So why socks? How did you come up with that idea of socks, John?
I did my idea.
Why socks?
Why socks?
Yeah.
Oh, I did already. It's fun. It's colorful. It's creative. It always let me be me.
And
and
we figured this: if he loved these socks this much, surely other people would too.
Yes.
And at that point, we skipped the traditional route of the business plan and said, let's just go the lean startup. Let's get something up and running, and our customers will let us know. So, you know, John, you told me you wanted to sell socks. He had the name.
I got a name. I come ideas.
But it wasn't just we're going to sell socks. It was, I want to make people happy.
Absolutely.
So we built a website on the Shopify platform, got a little bit of inventory, The only marketing we did was to set up a Facebook page, and I would take out my cell phone.
Videos.
And we made videos, and who was in those videos?
I'm in the field. I talk about stocks. I had a catchphrase. It called socks, and more socks.
So we opened in mid-December, already committed. Already you could see the framework of what we were going to build. We had pledged 5% of our earnings to the Special Olympics. The day we opened, we got 42 orders, which felt like a flood of orders to us. And most of them were local, which made sense. And how did we deliver those?
I decided on do home deliveries. We get red boxes. I put a sock in the box. I put in a personalized sticker note I wrote, and I put in candy for the kisses. I go knock on doors and
Delivered the socks.
Delivered socks.
And right from the beginning, we wanted to wow our customers.
Absolutely.
We had
So can I just pause you there and reiterate what John's just said? Because here you are starting a business. You've sold 48 pairs of socks, or maybe more. You've got 48 orders for some pairs of socks. Every single order was boxed in a nice box, packaged with a personal note from John to the purchaser. So 48 personal notes delivered personally by John with the gift in there as well.
Yes.
So people were not just getting socks.
No.
They were getting this fabulous experience.
Yes. And that really drives us. I mean, John will tell you that gratitude is an essential part of happiness. And we were so grateful for these customers. So we loved it. And so there we were, we're driving around. I'm driving a car. John's knocking on doors. He's delivering the socks. I'm out in the car. And I'm like, where is he? He's inside drinking hot chocolate. Taking photographs. We had customers ordering again just to have John come back to their door. So we tested the idea. And in that first month, really 2 weeks, we shipped 452 orders. And we knew we had something. We didn't know how big it would grow. We didn't know how fast it would grow. But we knew we could do this. And you learn by doing. So we learned one. People want to buy socks.
Yeah, want to buy socks. People want to buy socks from me.
And wanted to buy from John.
Absolutely.
Right? People responded to that pledge to the Special Olympics.
Yeah.
They loved the personal touch of the thank you note and the candy. There was something that caught us off guard. We got a very emotional response from people. Many of it was from families that had a child with autism or Down syndrome. But we had things, it was almost embarrassing of people. We had this one woman, I remember this one well.
Yeah.
We go to this house. She's up on a hill. John goes up, delivers the sock. She comes walking down following him. And she says, I just got to tell you, my mother passed away 3 months ago. I wasn't going to celebrate Christmas. I just couldn't get myself to do it. But then I started watching John's videos and seeing John. And now I'm putting up my Christmas tree. How do you even respond? And that's what got us started. But right from the beginning, we knew what we were about. We knew it was socks, and he loved the socks, and we were getting great socks. But we knew this was about spreading happiness, spreading joy. And it seems almost trite. It's a business built on love. And that was for our customers and the giving back. And it's grown. So today, how many different socks do we have?
We have 4,000 different socks.
Wow.
Yes, I own the world's largest sock store.
In choice, right? We're not out selling Walmart and Target, or at least not yet. And we shipped 450,000 some odd orders to 88 different countries.
I'm not saying 8. It could be 39.
89.
89.
And we're about to hit our 2 millionth pair of socks that we're sending out. But
That's really. And how long have you been going?
It's now 7.5 years.
Okay, that's really impressive.
Been shaky times in there, but we're still here.
Yeah.
And some really key things. We've been able to create 34 jobs. 22 of those are held by people with a different ability. Our giving back program, we talk about these big numbers, but we're still a small business. We've raised over $750,000 US in direct donations to our charity partners. And as you like to say,
I should get started.
Just getting started. And here's the thing, it's part of the theme that you've already brought up. If all we were doing was selling socks, we would be sunk. Because if that's all you're doing, what do you say? Ours are better than yours. Ours,
I don't smell like yours.
They don't smell like yours. They're cheaper than you, right? But at the end of the day, we're not really a sock store. The socks become the physical manifestation for the mission in the story. And that differentiates us.
Yeah, in some ways though, and I've got your homepage up here looking at some of the socks there. In some ways, thinking in terms of a customer with all the experience that I would get purchasing the sock, that's quite amazing. But then there's a certain, like it's almost a badge of honor, right? Showing off the socks because they're very colorful, they're fun, and all the things that John pointed out earlier.
So think about the richness of this experience. You order socks from us, you get your package in the mail. It's this brightly colored package, it stands out. You open it up, you get your socks. You get a note from John. And on the flip side of that note is the story of John's crazy socks. You get candy. Nowadays, we put lollipops in. And on the packing slip, you see the picture and the name of the person who packed your order. Because some of what you may just be learning is that you're now helping us employ people with different abilities. You're supporting our advocacy work. You're supporting our giving back program. You didn't just get a pair of socks.
Yeah.
You just got this dose of happiness.
Absolutely.
And
you know what's it? And you know what's even more powerful? Every morning when I get dressed and put on that pair of socks, that colorful, bright pair of socks, I get reminded of all of that.
Yes, we hear this all the time from people. And we can talk to you about the stitching of the socks and the physical component. We work very hard at that. But here's what we know, and here's what we hear from our customers. I put these socks on and they just make me feel good. I put these socks on and I feel happy. And we're never there. You're always evolving to get there. So I'll give you an example. We do our own fulfillment because we want to create jobs and because we want to personalize that packaging. We told you we put candy in. Well, one day, one of our happiness backers comes to us and says, we sell socks for diabetics and we're shipping them candy. What's wrong with that picture? So now we have a supply of sugar-free candy that if you order diabetic socks, you get with that. It's, the businesses sitting out there, how important your email list is. we can come and talk about how we use that. And if you're at all sophisticated, you're going to segment that list and tailor it for people. We segment our fulfillment. Everybody gets the same basic ingredients, but we have 4 different packages. If this is your first order, you get one package. If it's your second or third order, you get a different package. Your third or fourth order, you get a different, and so on. Because we're trying to personalize that.
Yeah.
It's.
I think there's huge value in understanding this from the point of view of segmenting the list, not just in what segments might be different in terms of what they're looking for, but repeat orders or long-time customers or customers maybe that haven't ordered for a long time, because that's where you have the power of building that human connection. And I had an experience recently where I thought, wow, these people are doing this really well. And I'd ordered a fairly large item, so it was thousands of dollars from this company, and it was delivered 2 days later. Everything was fine, it was fantastic. And a little while later, I ordered a small item from the same company. And it was probably 6 or 8 weeks later. And I got an email back within about an hour of that order saying something along the lines of, "It's nice to see you back and come back for another order." And it was very personalized. Of course, it was an automatic email, but the idea of segmenting to the point of, okay, here's a person that's a repeat order, so they're obviously a satisfied customer, so we treat them a little bit differently than somebody coming for the first time.
Yeah, we talk about, we don't want to chase transactions. We're building relationships.
Yeah.
So let's take that email, right? There are campaigns we do that go to everybody on a large list. But if you don't open the email, we stop sending you emails. We're not looking to bother you. What emails? Well, we don't want to overwhelm you. We're not trying to bludgeon you. And they're not all sell. So every Friday, John sends out an email.
I did.
And his email is just, here's what I'm doing, and this is what's on my mind. So last week, the email was about the fact that over the weekend, you were visiting your grandmother who has Alzheimer's disease. And he spoke about that a little bit. And the connection with Down syndrome and some of the work that he does and that we do to support Alzheimer's research. This week, it's asking people, do you know a good joke? Because John is writing a book of jokes, and he's telling people, if you got a good joke, send it to me. I'll put it in the book. You know, it's not trying to sell you anything.
Yeah. And you know what? People read those emails more than they if like I've got lists that I don't want to unsubscribe from because I want to continue to pay attention to what these people are doing. But I just look at them in the list and I'll just delete their emails because I know all their emails are going to be selling me something. Whereas for people that do what you do, John, I'll be opening that email and reading it because I'll know occasionally there'll be one where you'll try to sell me your socks, but 3 out of 4, perhaps, there'll be some other information that's of interest to me.
We have a 65% open rate. So short term, you know, listen, you know it. Every time we send out an email, we see a little jump in sales. Email is very important to us. So it's tempting to, I should send an email out every day and push something. Yeah, but don't be a pig. You know? Build that relationship, take care of people. And they'll respond.
And that's it's the philosophy of your business being applied back to how you do your marketing through email and through other means. And I've seen some of John's videos. John, your video, I saw one you did recently on TikTok. We talked about becoming an ambassador. Was it the board of directors of
National Down Syndrome Society? He's on the
yeah. So
Yes.
congratulations on that, by the way. But I thought,
Thank
here's something that is really interesting and is probably going to result in sales, even though you're not selling. You're just talking about something that's related to your mission, something that you've achieved personally, but that can make a difference to the mission that you're pursuing.
Listen, we have to sell socks to survive.
Yeah.
If we don't do that, we all go home. But it's by doing all of this, and there's no one thing. If you listen, there's a lot of richness to it. You have to believe. You got to know what you're about. You have to know your values, and you have to believe. And you got to get people working with you that believe as well. So our mission, what are we doing? We're spreading happiness.
Spreading happiness.
Those are not idle words. Those drive our budget decisions, our resource allocations, what we're going to do, how we're going to do it, the colors on the walls, the way we answer the phone. If you call our place, you're never going to get voicemail. You're going to talk to an actual human. We don't give out scripts. We don't listen in on the phone calls. We've built the business on 5 pillars: inspiration and hope.
Inspiration and hope. Give it back. Find projects you can love. Make it personal. Make it critical to work.
Right. So, to make it a great place to work, that's easy. If we're going to spread happiness, we have to start at home. We have to start at our workplace. And that we break down into 6 pieces. 1, offer people a mission worthy of their commitment. Something that they can feel good about, that they can commit to, something to make them proud. And it can't be, we're going to make a lot of money. And don't get me wrong, we want to make money. It turns out we like to live indoors.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
But the second, make sure everybody knows why his or her job matters. There's no cog in the machinery. There's no make work job. There's no, well, this doesn't really count. Everybody's job matters, and it connects to that mission. 3, put people in a position to succeed. Don't ask them to do what they can't do. So John here might be the hardest working man in Stockton.
Yes.
But we don't ask John to do our finances. Yet there's nobody who gives a better tour of our operations than John. If our webmaster if Nick needs a particular software application, why don't we get it for him? Now, we're a small business. We don't have endless resources. But put people in a position to succeed. Pay people fairly. That doesn't mean you have to be the highest paying employer, but it has to be fair pay. People have to look at it and feel, this is fair. I'm being recognized for what I'm doing, and I'm being paid a fair wage for what I do, both for those businesses, other businesses around us, and also within the company. Recognize what people do. It can be as simple as saying, thank you. I saw you doing this. I heard you talking to that customer. That project you work on, you did a great job. And then the last thing, stay the hell out of the way. Well, let people do their work. So that's, we really do want to make it a great place to work. That's very important to us. Make it personal. We've already spoken a lot about creating a customer experience, but it has to happen at a personal level. There are too many instances, too many, we got yesterday, was it yesterday? Yesterday, out of the blue, somebody placed a $1,200 order ordering Christmas socks. Well, that pops up. And what do? John calls the customer to say thank you. What's going on? This is it. Turns out it's a business that wants to do a surprise Christmas in July party. Get our Christmas socks to everybody. And so then we call him back, hey, would you like us to make a video for your event? You know, what can we do for you? Because we're so grateful. And let's go have some fun. What can we do together? Right? Then fun products you can love. It speaks in part to what we sell. So who has to approve every item we sell?
I do.
So no curse words, nothing profane. But it's also mean let's deliver on our promise. We have to have a great website. We have to have great selection. The products have to be great. We have over 30,000 five-star reviews. 96% of our reviews are five-star reviews. Our net promoter score has just bumped up to a 96. We do same-day shipping. Our error rate on our shipping is less than 0.2 of 1%. You got to be good. You got to deliver. You know, I make an American sports analogy. It's playing football. I was, and it turns out we breed this with his older brothers, an offensive lineman. The only time you notice an offensive lineman is when they do something wrong, right? You got to deliver those goods. And then giving back. So we start with that pledge of 5% to the Special Olympics. And why the Special Olympics?
I am Special Olympic athlete.
What sports you play?
Basketball, track and field, soccer, and snowshoe.
So we start there.
Yeah.
But then we've gone to create a whole range of products. We call them awareness socks that celebrate causes, raise awareness, and raise money for those causes. What were the first pair of awareness socks we had? What were the first pair of awareness socks?
Down syndrome awareness socks.
Down syndrome awareness. But we have autism awareness, and they raise money for charity partners. We sponsor an Autism Can Do scholarship. We make donations, fundraisers, and it's not enough to just sell stuff. You gotta give back. But the most important pillar, inspiration and hope. We want to show the world, look what people with different abilities can do. And hiring people with different abilities is good business. So we start with John as the face of the business. We do it with our hiring. We do it with our content on social media. Right? No broccoli. Nothing your mother says, sit down, eat this will be good for you. It's showing people can do. We host tours and work groups in our operation. With the pandemic, we also offer them virtually. But we've had more than 2,000 people come through our operation. And it's so important. You had a large group in today. It's so important for them to see people who are like them working and owning a business. It's encouraging, it's inspiring. And we get to tell them the message, we need you. It's going out and spreading the word. That way we're kind of like evangelists. We've done a very large number of podcast interviews. It's a way to tell the story and share. And so there's someone in the audience today who's going to think about the world differently by this podcast. We take on speaking engagements. We travel across the U.S. and Canada, Mexico, giving keynote speeches. People love having John there. Then he takes photos. Some guys, they learn to play guitar to meet women. John started a sock company. But all that rolls up into John's crazy songs.
It's all.
We're very open about what we do. And my wife, upon occasion, has said, but aren't you worried that somebody's going to copy us? We have had people try to copy aspects. But they can't. They can't.
They don't have that combination, right?
They'd have to be so invested in it. And we're so fortunate to get to do what we do.
Well, one of the things I'm curious about, you have this whole principle of spreading happiness and inclusion and being an inspiration to show what's possible. Beyond the business and social impact, how has your life changed, and how's your personal philosophy and view of the world changed as a result of John's crazy socks?
Well, there's nobody that lives a better life than you, right?
Absolutely.
We start our talks with a picture of John on his first day of life. We talk about some of the obstacles he had overcome, intestinal bypass surgery on day 3 of his life, open heart surgery before he was 3 months old. And the message is, you ask what could become of this child born with Down syndrome. And the answer is, well, he could grow up to change the world. For me, it's much more look at oneself, and it's evolutionary, right? But look at oneself and look at what we can do. Look at the impact we can have. And be empathetic. Listen to everybody's got a story. Everybody's got some strength. And we should listen and look for that. It's a much richer place to be. Plus, right, I'm the old man, right? I'm 66. I got
you're old man.
good friends retiring. They're all counting the days. I'm like a 24-year-old kid.
Yeah.
There's so much I want to do that, we got to keep going.
Yeah, I think I used to, in the corporate world, I used to be in my 50s counting the days to retirement because I got to a point where I realized I'm not enjoying this anymore after about 23 years. And now I couldn't imagine anything further away. So having a sense of purpose and enjoying what you do and having a sense of happiness, spreading happiness, being an inspiration to others, and all of that it does keep you young, doesn't it?
Well, and it's also created an obligation for us. And we made a big promise. We made a promise about the way the business can run. We made a promise about hiring and showing what people with different abilities can do. So I do feel pressured to deliver on that promise and keep growing it. You mentioned in the introduction, we do a lot of advocacy work. Elected officials listen to us. Well, that's all nice, and they like photos. Everybody likes photos with John. But then it creates an obligation of, but here's what we got to do. Right? We have to speak up. And that drives a lot of what we do. Yeah.
Wonderful. All right. Well, this has been a fascinating conversation, and we could keep going and talking for ages, but I'm aware of the time now, and I think it's a good point at this stage to move on to the buzz, which is our innovation round, the same 5 questions I ask of every guest. And I'm sure you'll have some really inspiring answers for us that'll prompt our listeners.
You ready to inspire?
Yeah, the idea is we'll prompt our listeners to go and do something awesome as a result.
Well, let's have it.
Okay, so what's the number one thing anyone needs to do to be more innovative?
To be more innovative, look at what you're trying to achieve and let go of how others do things. In my career, and I've done a lot of different things, one way to innovate is to take something out of another field and bring it into a new field. I can talk about what John's crazy socks. I have no background in retail. I have no background in socks. I have no background in running a warehouse. That meant we weren't held back by what's happened in the past. So
Yeah.
we got to do things in different ways. There was also a price to pay. We had to learn things that others knew, but that's very freeing. Focus on what the outcome is and try to strip away the way things have been done in the past.
Yeah, I love that. Jump in, John, if you want to add to that.
You want to add? Go ahead.
Yeah, I aspired. I aspired showing my showing my employees can do, and I'm showing my employees and customers can do. And
Well, one of the things talk about innovation. You just decide you're going to go and do things, and then you go and do them. Other people, they get hung up. You see, this doesn't even enter your mind. Other people get hung up and they wring their hands and, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know if it may not work out. You just go and do it. That's pretty cool.
Exactly what my dad said. Just do it. Just do it, and I'm showing you a path, so you can do. A lot opportunity out there, and my mindset that I'm showing. I'm showing other people can do, and I'm showing I can do, and showing my colleague can do.
Well,
and one thing about is gratitude. Gratitude. Fair point. That I do for others. And gratitude.
so it's a little bit off
Great.
a specific question, but what are you afraid of?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, well, I think that's it does speak to the question in the sense that, like you say, what are you afraid of? We kind of do this analysis and we're held back to try something new because we focus on what could go wrong.
If you're an entrepreneur, failure is part of the game. So you're talking to us about John's Crazy Socks, and I've run healthcare firms and things. We could talk about that. Nobody wants to interview me about new Gutenberg software and our product, Baseball for Windows 94. Got rave reviews, and we lost every penny we had.
Yeah.
But if I didn't do that, we wouldn't be doing it. Right? That's
the lessons in all of those experiences. All right. So what's the best thing you guys have done to develop new ideas?
Well, I'm going to flip it a little bit. I don't think it's really a matter of coming up with new ideas. I'm one of those scary people. At night I lay in bed and I come up with 5 new ideas, and that's scary sometimes to people I work with, and that's exactly the problem. It's not as much coming up with the new ideas; it's making them happen. It's executing on them.
Yeah.
It requires a discipline and a focus. It requires saying that may be a good idea, but we're not going to do it. We're a small business. We have a bigger imprint than the size of our business. We have to be very intentional about what we do. If Mark comes in, if I come in and, I got this idea and this idea, we're going to do this, nothing will happen. We're going to stay focused and get things done. That's the key with good ideas and new ideas.
That's a really good point. It's about being able to filter for the best idea, or the one that you're actually going to pursue, and the one that you believe you have the best resources and chance for implementation. Yeah.
I'll give you 2 examples. So Jamie, who's our Lord of the Socks, he runs our warehouse fulfillment. And among other things, he handles the tours and the work groups that come in. John gives the tours. So we're at a meeting and he says, I have some ideas of what I want to do to improve the tours. We can make them better. And he had some great ideas. But I was like, wait a second. We have these other priorities. With the tours, do we have any complaints? Are people happy? In fact, they love coming on these tours. Could we make them marginally better? We can. But you as a resource are very precious. And we have higher priorities. We got to do that. Or we're working on revamping our Sock of the Month club. And as a team, we're working through this, and two folks started presenting and saying, oh, and if we do this, we can save money, and we can save money here, we can save money there. And I said, okay, I don't want to hear anybody talk about saving money. Don't get me wrong. It'd be nice to save money. Yeah. I don't want that to be our
not the first priority. Yep.
I want it to be how can we deliver for our customers? What can we do to wow? What can we do to make this great?
Yeah, that's really important. And I know you told me a story about, how the two candies or lollipops that you put in there now.
one lollipop, two lollipops. So we have a strategic partner and that we signed an agreement with in 2020, gave us some financial stability and and they do manufacturing and access on the wholesale side. And we had worked out something where, John, you and Mark, you go and promote, you do the outside, we'll run the day-to-day. Well, it wasn't really working out. Despite best efforts, but we were having a meeting and we've been putting candy in that package from day one. What candy do we start with?
Hershey's Kisses.
Hershey's Kisses. Little chocolates with everybody. Until we got the email from the woman in Florida saying the weather's getting warm, we may not want to send chocolate to the south.
Yeah.
So for the longest time, we put packages of Skittles in. Finally got with the right person at the Mars Corporation and said, we'd like you to be the official candy of John's Crazy Socks. They said, yeah, we work with the NFL and NASCAR. We don't need you. Okay, we'll put something else in. So our Lord of the Socks goes in and he finds, we're paying 26 cents a package for those Skittles. He finds lollipops. So some people call them suckers. And 4.5 cents. Great. And I'm sitting there thinking, well, we'll put 2 in, one for you and one to give to a friend. And my partners, no. We've been losing money. We got to save money. We got to cut it out. 1 lollipop. 1 lollipop. I'm thinking 2 is kind of small. 1 lollipop. We got, and if we'll change it if people complain. I understood at that moment we had to restructure we had to change leadership in the business. Good people, good, very good people, but didn't get it.
Yeah.
If it's sitting there debating 1 lollipop, 2 lollipops, yeah.
Not quite aligned with the philosophy. Yeah.
Right.
All right. Now, do you have a favorite resource you use most often?
Well, one that I tap into is an organization I'm in called the Entrepreneurs Organization. I think it's now 17,000 worldwide entrepreneurs. It's a good resource to share information, through forums and through educational components. So that's a very helpful one for me. And I am also still old-fashioned, and I read.
Physical books.
Well, I read them on iPads now because I can enlarge the print. And the third is I have some mentors, some people that know our business that are quite wise and are able to give feedback and help us stay on course. you can't go it alone. And I think in the West in general, and the US and specifically, we've fallen into this trap of believing there are geniuses out there. Us, Zuckerberg, and let them go and create. And that's scary because they're not. It's the organization.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it, with that mindset of, and I've heard people talk about particularly Tesla in this light. If Musk decides he's no longer interested in Tesla and wants to go and do something else, what happens to Tesla as an organization? What happens to the Tesla share price? And I often have that thought, thinking, well, yeah, okay, he's the face of it and he's a visionary, but he can't be doing it all himself. So,
well, and it's selfish. I learned this in a very rudimentary way early in my life. It's my senior year of college. I had spent my junior year at Trinity College in Dublin, and I brought back ideas. Again, I didn't know I was an entrepreneur, but I'm doing these entrepreneurial things. And I created something called the Lunchbox Theater. And we put on plays and poetry readings and concerts during the lunch hour. And I would run around and convince people to do this, and it became a really neat thing. And when at the end of the year, I pass it on I convince this junior to take over the next year, and he does, and it peters out, and it dies. Why? There was no organization. I was being a hero doing this. That gentleman who took it over, his name was Bart Shear. Bart, to his credit, has gone on to be one of the more notable theater directors and producers in our country. He's won multiple Tonys, but that was the lesson. When I was in graduate school, a 2-year program, started something called the Summer Intern Fund, because the school assumed that you were going to earn a certain amount of money over the summer that you could put towards tuition. But there were these really great opportunities that people could have to have an impact that were either no pay or low pay. So we created this Summer Intern Fund to subsidize it. In that one, I made sure that we had an organization, and I made sure it was filled with first-year people. So I get out of that school in 1986, and I still get the annual phone call asking if I'll donate, because that Summer Intern Fund is continuing to grow.
Going, yeah.
Read the Jim Collins books. It's not about you. If it's about that goal, that purpose, that mission, the ego falls away and the petty stuff falls away, because that's what matters, not me.
That matters. Yeah. Well, that probably leads naturally into the fourth question of the buzz round, which is, how do you keep a project on track?
Well, in a very large way, you have to remember, what are we about? What's our mission? And we have to keep coming back to that. We have to keep talking about it, making sure, and be willing to challenge each other. I shared an article the other day with my colleagues of how niceness can be a problem. We're also nice to each other. You got to be able to be direct. But some of it is also, we're running a business. Let's be accountable. Right? Yes, we said this is going to get done on this date. We're going to get it done. And let's not take on too much. And if you need help, please ask for help. But be clear and be crisp and be accountable.
Well, so what's the number one thing anyone can do to differentiate themselves?
Oh, know your purpose, know your values, focus on that. Don't go chasing transactions. You are not competing against others. It's just yourself.
Yeah. Relationships over transactions. Love it. All right. Well, thanks for getting us through the buzz round. And we were cursed by another little technical glitch there. Hopefully we can wrap it up without any further hitches. Well, thanks so much, John and Mark, for our conversation today. I've really enjoyed it. Now, how can people find out more about John's Crazy Socks?
Where can they
Maybe
find
even get a hold of you and say thanks for what you've shared today.
Where can they find
I go at johnscrazysocks.com.
johnscrazysocks.com. And we're on every social media platform. Just look for John's Crazy Socks. Listen, if you buy directly or socks from us, you're going to get great socks. They're going to make you happy. And at the same time, you're going to help us employ people with different abilities. You're going to help us give back. And you're going to help us spread happiness. And if you're in business out there, we have a growing number of business services, custom socks, which we've made for everybody from Microsoft to the accountant around the block, schools, high schools, PTAs, colleges. We have a welcome package series, which might interest some of the businesses. We put together a welcome package for your new customers. You send us their names, we send it to them. We do that for member organizations. They get a new member. We put a package together, it goes to them. We've done it for companies for onboarding new employees. So we have that. We do assembly and kitting to put packages together, kits together for people running galas and things like that. And if you got an idea of something you think we could help you with, we'll go and do it.
Yeah, excellent. All right. And of course, we'll have links to that in the show notes, and that also includes, I'm pretty sure there, but we'll include these links to your YouTube channel and TikTok channel, all the videos that John does.
And you know, if you got good connections down there in Melbourne, we do a lot of keynote addresses. People like us and rehire us. We would love it if somebody wanted to fly us to Australia for a speaking engagement.
Yeah. Well, I was going to ask if I order some socks, will John personally deliver them to me?
We'll work on that. That delivery fee might go up.
Yeah. All right. Well, as we wrap it up, what action would you like our listener to take out of our conversation today?
Besides buy socks, look at the world differently. Look at the impact you can have, at the difference you can make. If you've got a small business, even if you have 3 employees, that's 3 families. That's 3 people contributing to the local community. And look at the impact that others can have. Focus on people's strengths. Never be blinded by somebody's limitations. Be awed by their possibilities. And if you're a business owner and you want to hire the best possible people, consider hiring people with different abilities. And you, what's your advice?
My advice, follow your heart, follow your dreams, work hard, so you can do.
Pretty good.
Wonderful. Yeah. Follow your heart, follow your dreams, work hard, and show what you can do. Excellent. I love it. All right. Well, and have fun at the same time, right?
There you go.
Spread happiness. Yeah.
Yes.
Excellent. Well, John and Mark, this has been an absolute pleasure. I've really enjoyed this, despite all the technical glitches that we've had to put up with, but that's all part of the game. Thanks so much for sharing your time and your insights with us so generously today. And please do stay in touch. All the best for the future.
All right. Take care. Have a great day.
Thanks so much.